Now, I got a very nice email from uh, a physician colleague,
Lou.
Amorosa, recently, and Lou runs the clinical clerkships of the medical students of Robert Wood, and he congratulated me on my book and said, from one clinician to another, we should heed the advice that we give to our patients, which is adequate sleep, diet, exercise, and take breaks and vacations from hard work. Now, let's talk about that for a minute, because all those things are very important insights to understand when it comes to stress. And so sleep and diet, they're pro-inflammatory when you're not getting adequate of either one, or when it's poor quality of sleep or diet, there's a lot of inflammation. Inflammatory cytokines loop back on the brain. The feedback on the brain reduces the threshold for the perception of stress, amplifies this chronic activated stress response. And that's why that's bad. Obviously, taking respites from work, it interrupts this persistence of the stress, the, the the confrontation with stress that we experience. You want to take breaks from that. Exercise is also anti-inflammatory, but exercise, interestingly, what it does is it promotes BDNF production. So, so is BDNF good or bad? It's both. It's this notion of hormesis. At low levels, something's good. At high levels, it's bad. So it puts the brakes on this cortisol response that drives the stress response, and it improves resilience to stress. But on the other hand, if you're completely negating the effects of cortisol, that has tragic effects. Oh, so let me also say actually that it's not just exercise, because now they're studying this in other contexts like yoga and mindful meditation. They also seem to increase BDNF, and therein lies a lot of the benefits on the stress response and improving longevity and health span. While the consequences of both forms of stress are often reversible, the devastating effects of burnout, including loss of life and broken relationships, are often not, equating to the physical forces of stress that break objects. Well, now, I want to finally, the connection here is when you can't have both vitalizing and toxic stress at the same time. And what the toxic stress does is it robs us of what makes us uniquely human: the empathy, compassion, social awareness, intuition, love. We can't have these things. Our core values are hardened in the context of chronic stress. So vitalizing stress is what's key.
It's been most illuminating. I presume that based on what you said, quantifying and controlling stress will help a lot of people live better lives, longer lives, and with a higher quality. Do you have any other suggestions how one could reduce stress and therefore improve health?
Importantly, vitalizing stress through social bonding and networking, to use a physics analogy, spreads this stress over a greater mass, preventing or lessening the toxic effects of the stress. Change is an inescapable hallmark of time, and fear often associates with change. Human connection and networking as a collective intelligence makes it easier, if not possible, to maintain personal expectations, which is happiness and fulfillment, really. And in both physiology and society, integration is a hallmark of health, while isolation is disease. Physiological purpose is inspiring, that we're motivated not only to survive as individuals, but to help others do so as well, to promote the joys, the opportunities, the health and the general welfare of others, which are inextricably entangled to those of our own. Nothing elevates us more than to become part of a new system whole, which is greater than the sum of the parts. Now, this defines physiological purpose at every hierarchical scale, from smaller than a human cell to larger than a human being.
Well, I thank you for this most uplifting message, Brian, and I hope that this is to be continued, because it's most interesting to have this dialogue between physics and medicine.
For sure. Thanks, Jack.
Take care.